So imperialism is a policy or ideology of extending the rule of one nation or empire over other peoples and nations for the purpose of extending the political and economic power of that dominating nation within those subjugated nations. It's basically a practice of extending political and economic access, power, and control through methods such as
Shadows of the Past, Unveiling the Untold Stories of Sally Hemings and Hagar. Imperialism involves extending a country's power and influence, often through force, and the patriarchal system, deeply ingrained in ancient societies, emphasizes male dominance. Examining the biblical narrative in Genesis 12 sheds light on the patriarchal roots that have influenced belief systems and contributed to a white supremacist patriarchal system. In Genesis 12, Abraham and Sarah grapple with infertility. To fulfill God's promise of descendants, Sarah suggests Abraham have a child with her slave, Hagar. This decision reflects patriarchal norms, where women are often seen as property and their worth tied to childbearing. The narrative becomes a tool for enforcing gender roles and justifying the mistreatment of women, especially women of color like Hagar. Thomas Jefferson and the Story of Sally Hemings, Echoes of Hagar. Thomas Jefferson, the third President of the United States and a principal author of the Declaration of Independence, is a figure often celebrated for his contributions to the founding of the American nation. However, his personal life reveals a complex and contradictory story, especially in his relationship with Sally Hemings, an enslaved woman at his Monticello estate. This narrative bears striking parallels to the biblical story of Hagar from the Old Testament. Sally Hemings was much younger than Jefferson and, according to historical accounts, bore him several children. This relationship, which began when Hemings was a teenager, occurred within the context of slavery, where Hemings did not possess the freedom to consent or refuse. Jefferson's status as a slave owner and a founding father of a nation predicated on the ideals of liberty and equality stands in stark contrast to his personal actions. Similarly, in the Old Testament, the story of Hagar, an Egyptian slave, unfolds within the patriarchal structures of her time. She was given by Sarah, Abraham's wife, to bear a child for Abraham, reflecting the lack of agency and autonomy that characterized the lives of enslaved women. Hagar's story, like that of Sally Hemings, is a narrative of survival and resilience in the face of systemic oppression. Both stories, separated by centuries and cultures, highlight the complexities of power dynamics, race, and gender. They serve as poignant reminders of the ways in which historical and biblical figures, often revered as patriarchs and leaders, were also participants in systems of oppression. The narratives of Sally Hemings and Hagar challenge us to critically re-examine historical and religious texts, understanding the profound implications they have on our interpretations of morality, leadership, and justice. As a Black feminist woman deeply rooted in the teachings of the 5% Nation, my journey through the scriptures is one of constant exploration and challenge. The New Testament, particularly the teachings of Paul, presents a stark reflection of the times. A period steeped in patriarchy. Passages like 1 Timothy 2:12, "I do not permit a woman to teach or to assume authority over a man. She must be quiet," have long been used to justify the subjugation of women. For me, a Black woman, these words are not just relics of a patriarchal past, but reminders of ongoing struggles against gender and racial discrimination. In the Old Testament, the story of Hagar, a narrative of oppression and survival, resonates deeply. Raised to view these scriptures as the divine truth, I've come to realize the profound influence of human interpretations that have often perpetuated the subjugation of women and the justification of slavery. Yet, within the teachings of the 5% Nation, I find a path to empowerment. We believe that divine knowledge and understanding lie within each of us. This belief challenges me to engage critically with these scriptures, to seek knowledge beyond the traditional interpretations that have long marginalized women and people of color. Reinterpreting these texts, I seek perspectives that align with values of equality and justice. The journey is personal and complex, intertwined with my identity as a Black feminist. It's about challenging norms, confronting problematic aspects, and embracing a spirituality that affirms the divine within me and every individual. In this journey, I am not just reading the scriptures, I am redefining them, crafting a path that honors my faith, my feminist beliefs, and my identity as a Black woman aligned with the 5% nation. It's a journey of empowerment, knowledge, and profound self-discovery.